Ew.
Yo, what's going on?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Scrolling the TikTok.
All right, perfect. Let's do our podcast now.
Oh, we're on. We're live. We're live,
Yeah,
pal.
why not, pal? I figured no reason to wait till 7. If you're, I saw that you were driving Nick around for dental care, so I figured you weren't working.
Yeah, I had to kind of take off today because I had to, get his teeth fixed.
I mean, were they
So,
bad or just a couple of chips? I mean,
so
that adds
he took.
character, you know?
Well, so okay, right. Look, here's my thought. We're gonna start off hot, Barry and Nick.
Okay.
Nick the Dick. So Sunday he had a game, one game Sunday, and he dove for like a loose ball, and they kind of like kid came down on top of him. There's a little scuffle for the ball, jump ball, whatever. And he's like holding his mouth, and I'm like, I'm in the stands yelling because I'm that dad. I'm like, stop being a pussy, like stop, like I go, if you sell it, then of course the ref calls timeout, and she's like, and he's across the course, so I can't see, I just see him holding his mouth, and she tells him he's got to go out, and he's like, I'm fine. She's like, no, you got to go out for a play or whatever. So he goes to the garbage can, he's spitting in it, and I'm like, he's like, trying to mouth something to me inside, and I'm mouthing back like, stop being a baby. I'm like, suck it up. Like, oh, you got hit in the mouth, you're bleeding. Okay, whatever, big deal. Like, suck it up. Well, he comes back in the game literally a minute later, and then there was a timeout, and he had come over on the side of the court. He's like, I was like, stop being a baby. You're overselling it. You look like a big baby, and the ref stops the game, and it's just like, stop it. He's like, I go, it's a little blood. He's like, blood. He's like, 2 of my teeth are missing. I'm like, what? And he smiles, and it's like the front tooth, like the bottom, one of the 2 middle teeth in the front, one of them is half of a tooth, and on the top it chipped like a little bit. And I was like, oh, I go, what were you spitting in the garbage? He goes, pieces of my tooth out. So I'm over here thinking he's being a baby because he was bleeding, and I didn't know his teeth got knocked out. Yeah. So
he looks Dumb and Dumber right now, or did?
Well, so he played really well, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe the tooth, gave him a little, because he played like crap on Saturday. But then we go to he's crying about it though, like, okay, and everybody knows this. If you chip a tooth, there's no nerve damage to that top part of your tooth missing. There's no nerve damage. You know what I mean?
Right, you just have a fucked up tooth.
It was sharp looking. It was sharp. And he was overselling it, eating he's just like, oh, it hurts. I go, there's no way it hurts. It's not even possible that it hurts. There's no physical way that hurts you unless it's cutting up your tongue or I get that because it was sharp looking. And he's like, he can't eat. I don't even want to eat. They're so dramatic. So dramatic. Anyway.
Who raised this kid?
Right. What? I'm like, what? So he's like, you got to make a doctor appointment, dentist. So I called the dentist yesterday, and they got us an appointment today. So we go in, and I'm look, this is me talking here. I'm the cheapest person ever. Number one. Number two, if it was me, I would have just lived with the broken tooth because you still have a whole season to play. Whatever, get it fixed later in life. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
So he had to get it fixed, like the girls were gonna notice or something. I said 2 things. 1, you never leave the house unless you're going to play basketball. And 2, when you do leave the house, you're usually wearing a mask and nobody sees your teeth anyway. So what does it even matter these days? So we go, and I'm nervous the whole time, I'm gonna get hit with this bill, but I have insurance. So the lady comes out. What a work dentists are, by the way. The biggest work ever. She comes out and they're like, hey, he's got, what's the issue? So I told them, and they're like, well, we're going to take him back. We'll look at the tooth. We'll do some x-rays. I'm like, x-rays? You could just see it. What do you need an x-ray for? Right. So she comes back out and she goes, I get 2 free cleanings. The kids get 2 free cleanings every year for their teeth. And she said he hasn't had one since 2020, because they were closed for a while. And she's like, you have to do the cleaning today. I said, I have to do it. I said, I don't care. It's free. And right. She's like, yeah, but we can't do anything with the tooth until we get a cleaning. Now I'm thinking, wait, what? So I said, why couldn't you fix his tooth? What does the cleaning have to do with the tooth? And I thought about it is it's free for me, but it's not free for my insurance. They're getting paid off this cleaning, right? So they want to get those 2 in a year because they're making money off of it.
But I mean, I don't know. I think before they work on your fender, they have to. It's got to be clean. You know what I mean? You're not gonna repaint a fender on a car that's been damaged. You're not gonna repaint it without cleaning it first. You're not gonna spray over dirt and stuff like that.
But I felt like the way she presented it was like they were cashing in on their money in the bank, like they were cashing in the briefcase.
Maybe I mean it does sound like a shady mechanic. You're right.
Right. So I go, look, I don't care, but he's nervous because the teeth hurt, that the cleaning's gonna hurt, and she's like, it won't. I said, well, you can tell him that when you go back in there, because they don't let parents in there anymore. It's COVID. It said COVID doesn't exist in the waiting room; it only exists in the fucking back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but why do you? Anyway, that's brilliant. Because who needs like a backseat driver parent in there the whole time you're working?
Well, and I don't want to be in there.
It would drive me nuts to have a parent looking over my shoulder the whole time.
I don't want to be in there. But she had to keep coming out to talk to me. Like it was just such a, So anyway, she's like, we'll do the cleaning and then we'll come back out and tell you. So they do the cleaning, comes back out, and she says, we're gonna put. Now she's got the paper in her hand, right? Like she's got the paper, and she's showing me what they're gonna do. But she's intentionally covering the price part with her hand and has it like folded over. So I can't see the price, but I can see everything else in the paper. So she's talking. I'm not even listening to her because I'm focused on why you covering the price. Like now my mind is, I'm in my head talking to myself going, what is she doing? She's playing a game here with me. She's covering the price. I don't even know what she's saying.
Don't work a worker, honey. This is
right. So she's like showing me the paper, and it's literally folded over, and her hand's covering where the price is. And I'm like, I'm not listening. So she said, and I said, explain this to me again, because I had to come back into focus because I did not hear a word she said because I was like, this bitch. So she says, we're gonna basically put a Band-Aid on it. We're gonna fill it in with a fake tooth part, and then we're gonna like rebuild the tooth, and then you got to come back next Friday. We'll make sure it's all good. And then you come back in a month and we like seal it. I'm like, okay, this is a process. So now they got me coming in 3 times. So, really they're giving my insurance.
3 separate visits.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're giving the insurance. And I'm not, it's insurance is paying for it, but still they're giving the insurance the good old, they're not even putting on the lube. They're just throwing it right in.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So I said, well, how much is this going to cost? Because now, that's my concern is not that I wouldn't have gotten it done, but I want to know what before you do the work, I need to know it mentally in my head. She's like, oh yeah, we don't know yet. I was like, oh, you liar. Like I know she was lying because as she's saying it, she slipped up and the paper kind of peeled a little bit open, and I see $1,000, but then I see that that's what the insurance is paying, and I'm like, wow, what a ripoff. Right. So now I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, what am I paying? Because if they're paying, so now I'm on pins and needles because I can't see what my portion is. So they said, we're going to come back out here in about 10, 15 minutes. We're going to grab him. We'll do the work. It could take about an hour. And I'm like, oh God, we've been there since it's like an all day festivity. So I'm just sitting there waiting, and they finally come back. They grab him. So I walk outside because I'm like, I got an hour. I got so I see next door's a Dunkin' Donuts. So no, I didn't get a donut, but I went to go get a coffee. I'm in there 10 minutes, and Nick comes in with the nurse into Dunkin' Donuts, right? Which is weird. Is that not weird?
I mean, they're hunting you down. They couldn't wait for you to come back.
So I was like, oh, yeah. You're done. She said it was going to take an hour. The lady's like, no, 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, and she's like, he said you would be in here. I was like, oh, of course he did. Fucking asshole. Right? So I was like, she's like, show him your tooth, whatever. And they just, I don't even know. It looks like they just put a piece of fucking putty there. I don't know. And she's like, just come next door after you get your coffee. And then, because I was waiting for my coffee. And she's like, come next door and then we'll settle up and they'll make the next appointment. I'm like, oh, okay. So
can I jump in here for a question?
Yeah.
Obviously they put something temporary on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why bother?
So here's the thing. it's temporary, but it's not. It's going to stay there. They're going to seal over it, so it stays there.
I thought you meant like they're putting
Right,
something there until they make something to put on.
No. They're going to cover it, but they can't. They have to. You have to wait. So you have to come back in a week. Then they'll see if that covering is good. If not, they touch it up, and then in a month they seal it. I don't know why the process takes so long. I don't fucking know. They're just working it. You know, it's probably weird. Because they figure out the billing cycles, and I don't think they don't play that game on those computers they're typing on. They're not just looking at. They're doing some weird math over there on when they can make the extra dollar. You know,
that's weird. Like so, I don't know what sealing it means, but
I don't know.
But like it sounds like you wouldn't want to be eating with it for a month and then seal the tooth.
So I asked. I said, "Is there anything he can't do?" And she said, "No." I'm like, okay. And she's like, it's fine. Like, she's like, if there's any pain or if anything happens, just let us know and you'll be back on Friday. Okay. Now this is all taking place in Dunkin' Donuts, mind you. This is happening in Dunkin' Donuts. Me, Nick, and the nurse. Weird. So we go back next door and I go to settle up and like I'm walking in with this knot in my stomach because I'm ready to. I'm like, how much am I dishing out here? $300, $400, $500? I don't even know. I don't know. So I get to the thing and she's like typing, like, and in my head I'm like, she's probably not even typing, and there's probably nothing on the other side of the screen. Because she's typing so fast, it's almost like not real. You know, and then I'm
production,
right?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, what the fuck could she be typing in? Like that's a lot of information. There's no way that much information happened just now. Like, there's no way. So she's like not giving me the price, so now I'm getting really nervous. And then she's like, you're gonna pay with card? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, is she gonna tell me? Like, I'm waiting. And she's like, has her hand out for the card, still hasn't told me the price yet. So I'm like,
see, it's amazing that you've gone this far without saying anything. I would have been way back when she's covering the price, been like, stop covering the price, show me how much I'm paying.
Well, so like I don't know. Like this was just I was out of sorts. I don't know. Like, I've never had a situation where usually we go, it's just a cleaning, it's free, we leave. Like, that's it, you know? So I said, how much is it? She's like, oh, it's $56. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Thank you, Lord.
What a build for nothing, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just this anxiety.
Right.
I was starting to get a little sweaty over here.
Right. So I at that point I threw the card at her. I was like, all right, you know, like, so. And she's like, oh, you got to come back next Friday at, 2 o'clock. I was like, that's fine, whatever. So, you know, I made the appointment, whatever. And, yeah, it was like this big buildup for, like, I just don't understand why they couldn't tell. Like, what's the secret? Like, what was the secret? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with you having insurance, hiding the price shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. I can't imagine. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine people don't go to a dentist with a busted tooth and not expect to eat
right.
50 and not be able to pay $56. Like, if you don't have a few hundred to expect to pay on this, don't walk into a dentist's office for the fix.
Well, so I was sitting there thinking this as I was sitting there because I was like really nervous, like thinking like, what is this going to cost me? And I started to think, like, what if they did the work and they were like, okay, it's $500. You're like, I don't have the money. Like, like, why would you not tell somebody ahead of time?
Right.
Because then, like, it just doesn't, you know, it didn't make sense. Like what the stringing along.
I know what it is, because they trick you into getting the work done, then you owe them, and then you either go on the payment plan, which excuse me, means that you're paying like extra interest. Or where they rope you into like I had to go see a doctor. I went to see a consultation once and for some reason I went to plastic surgeon for this, and they were like, oh, that would be like $2,000. It's not covered by insurance. It's et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, yeah, I'm like, well, I don't have that. And then they immediately were sliding over like applications to like these companies that will spot, like, it's almost like a credit card application, but it's specifically for the procedure, you know, like it's like, well, they will loan you the $2,000 for it, and
So
you just have to get
wow.
applied, and they're even there helping you apply for it, and you're like, what the fuck? And so I imagine there's a kickback on that too, you know?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
There has to be. There has to be. Like I knew the entire time I was there what like was going on. You know, and I'm smart to it, obviously, because we've been through a lot in wrestling and dealing with weird people in wrestling. And I was like, who do they think they're working? Like they're working the wrong guy. Like I was about to take a bump and let her pin me at that point because she was good, but not that good. So,
Right.
but in my time there, this is something else I thought about today, and I was like sitting there, and you know, Nick went in, and I waited in the lobby. I watched this woman today with two kids, maybe about the age of 4 or 5 years old. Came in, they sat down. Now, the chairs are all, you know, the place is very neat. It's clean. It's a dentist office. It's a kid's dentist office. So there's a big fish tank in the middle, giant, like saltwater fish tank, beautiful. And I'm watching, so they sit down, and the one kid takes a chair and like moves it to like the middle of the whole place, and he's like sitting there. The other kid takes a chair, goes to the fish tank, stands on it, and he starts trying to reach over into the fish tank. And I'm watching, and this woman is like just no-selling her kids at all. So I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is insane. Like, if my kids acted like this, I would lose my shit. So the kid's like standing on the chair, reaching in the fish tank, and he looks back at me. And I was like, this is my chance. He looks at me with his arm in the fish tank. She's no-selling it. I just looked at him, and I shook my head no with the nastiest look on my face. And the kid slowly moves his hand out of the fish tank, still staring at me, slowly climbs down the chair, walks over to his mom, and just sits there. And I never broke eye contact with him. I was like, that's right, kid. And when he sat down, I just nodded, like, and gave him the stare. He never moved again. But it gets better.
Someone's got to parent that kid. Might as well.
Well, I'm thinking this fucking fish tank's going to fall. Something's going to happen. Like, he's got his hand in there. Something's going to bite him. I don't know. Like, how are you no-selling your child reaching into this giant fish tank? Like,
Right.
You're not even paying attention. But it gets better. So they come out and they call her kids in. And they come in, you know, they talk to her, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the parents aren't allowed in. So they're like, we'll take them in. We'll bring them back out. They take them in. She leaves, right? Now, I left to go next door to coffee. I watch her get in her car, right? Clearly says on the thing, do not leave the parking lot. She gets in her car and leaves. So I'm interested at this point. I got to see where this car's going.
Yeah.
So I get up to go to the window. Like, I don't know. I'm bored. I've been there for 3 hours. So I get up and go to the window. She got in her car and drove to Starbucks, which is in the next shopping center over parking lot, but you can see it. She got up and drove over to Starbucks. Left her two kids, 4 or 5 years old, in there with the dentist. And just gone.
Is that what you did?
I literally walked next door to Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, Dunkin', that's right. Okay.
Right, which is the door next door. Right?
Okay.
Now, Nick's 16 years old. I would not feel comfortable leaving a 4 or 5 year old in a random dentist office. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. But, so,
you know,
I'm still waiting. Now, she doesn't come back yet. They come out with the kids at this point. You know, the kids must have just got a quick cleaning, you know? They come out 10, 15 minutes later. She's not there. She's not there.
Oh, that was that was your opportunity to be like, oh yeah, she left. She left.
Oh, I'm not done. The lady comes out with the kids. She does the look around, and she's like, "Where's your mom?" And they're like, "I don't know." And here I am. It's my time to shine. I said, "I don't know." She got in her car. It looked like she drove over to Starbucks. I had to. Like, I felt it was my duty to tell on her, to snitch. So they go and call her. They go in the little office. The doors, like, you can see them. Call her, and then she comes back and gets the kids. Who would do that?
I'm thinking like 3 or 4 things here. First is, I mean, obviously, there's not someone at the window all the time, like the reception desk. But I mean, I would be all over that kid climbing the fish tank and yelling at the mom for that. 2, I would be totally ripping into that mom saying, "We are not a daycare center. You don't dump your kids on us and leave. You still there? Did you?
Well, I lost my headphone. Died. What?
Oh, yeah. No, I was gonna say I would have ripped them saying that we're not daycare.
Right. What does she think this is?
I mean, and then everyone's so passive that nobody says anything, and so she gets away with it. So then she's gonna do it again somewhere else. And even if she does get yelled at for it somewhere, then they play victim, and they're demanding a manager for you being rude to them. And what a fuck show in 2021.
Right. Oh, total. And just sitting there in this dentist's office. Nick was the oldest kid in there, and there was a couple kids probably close to his age, and they were well behaved. These little kids are just, because there were some other little kids there just running ragged in this building, and nobody's saying anything to them. I'm like, at what point are you like, yo, sit your ass down until they call us? Like, this ain't a jungle gym. Like, we're not playing here.
We used to get the talk. I'm
right.
4 kids in my family. We would get the talk before we even got out of the car about how this was going to go, how we were going to behave, what was going to happen if we fucked up. And, and then we would get out of the car and go in. Right.
Just mind-blowing. Now, one lady, her kid did get up and she kind of ran away and she said, get back here. And the kid said no. The mom got up and one swoof, boom, right in the butt. And the kid didn't cry or anything. It was just a warning shot. And the kid came back and she didn't cry. She didn't even cry. Yeah. And she came back and sat down. She's like, I'm sorry, Mom. I was like, look at that. But these kids were running wild. This one kid, the kid was reaching in the fish tank. Before he reached in the fish tank, he was running back and forth, past my legs. And I'm like, he's going to fucking trip over my feet, and then I'm going to get blamed. And he had sandals on, slides, Nike slides. And he's, tripping over them, but he keeps running back and forth. And, people are, dodging him. And I'm like, at what point do you tell your kid, just sit the fuck down? Stop it.
I swear I'd be every time I went by, I'd creep my legs out a little further.
Well, I was fully stretched out because that's how I sit. I was lounging, and I'm like, if he trips, he trips. This, But now, here's the best part of all this. It always ends up this way. I had to take a shit. So I'm like, the bathroom is right smack in the the waiting room. It's right there. There's no. You see who's going in, you see who's coming out, right? And you can probably hear everything on the outside. So Nick had been back out. He was sitting with me at this point. We were just sitting there waiting. And I was like, I got to go. Super clean bathroom. Super clean. So I go in there and I, do what I do. Blow it up. And I came out and I just came out. I went to close the door. But the door, I didn't realize it crept back open. So I sat down and I didn't even realize the door was open. And Nick's like, Dad. I'm like, what? He's like, you got to close the door. It stinks. I'm like, what? He's like, you got to close the door. It's coming out. So I get up to go close the door. I sat, I got out of my chair. I took 2 steps and the guy blows past me. I got to go. He goes, do you have to use it? I said, oh, no. He went right in there. I was like, oh, you poor soul. You poor soul. And he came out about 10 minutes later, and he's like, hey, thanks, man. I was like, no, I didn't have to go. I was just going to close the door. And he's like, yeah, good idea. Because he had left it open. He went back and closed it. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So
I almost gave him the, hey, I kept the seat warm for you, but I don't want to be that weird,
Yeah, you didn't know him well enough for that.
No.
So he had to suck in all of your heat, and then he closed the door so the next person goes and gets his heat.
Right. The whole thing was a shit show.
Literally.
Literally.
Oh my God! Why 3 hours at the dentist though? I mean,
but because they're packed. The place was packed. Oh. They're trying to get. Well, here's the. Oh, this. I didn't even forgot this part.
So here's my question. So you set up a time, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It gets better.
And that
gets set up a time.
And that got pushed all the way to the end of the earth, or what? I mean, because usually
my time is 1:00.
Yeah.
Right.
When did they see Nick?
We walked in. It was 12:45. I get there a little early.
Right.
I get to the counter. I don't have to fill out any paperwork. We've been there before. Blah blah blah. She tells me it's going to be a little bit. I said, "Oh, how long?" Because it was 12:45. I said the appointment's at 1. She goes, "Oh yeah, the dentists don't come back from lunch till 1." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, no, they're on lunch. They don't come back till 1."
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, but the appointment's at 1." She's like, "Yeah, they'll be back at 1 once they get settled." I mean, it was like 1:30. Like, who comes back from lunch and wants to take a patient right away? They probably, put their stuff down. Why would you schedule it at 1 knowing they come back? They literally walk back in from lunch at 1. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
They don't. I mean, they don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck.
No.
They're just like, book the day and we'll get through it.
Yeah. So
anyway, that's why
it was a long process.
That's why I don't schedule appointments for the afternoon. I always schedule them early in the day because the longer you go, the more odds are that each one's going to take longer than it should.
Or be behind, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're 1 o'clock, all these others have been pushed that you're really 2 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah. That's...
Well, then there's more to today. Then I got to go pick up an order from JCPenney that Lex ordered a pair of shoes. Now, one would say, in this day and age, why would you not get the shoes delivered, right? Because 3 people have already asked me that today. Why don't you just get them delivered?
Might have been a pickup only thing.
The shoes were $29.99, and they wanted $9 to deliver the shoe.
Oh,
I said, no. It's free to pick it up in store. It's literally across the street from the dentist. Perfect.
Okay. I was going to say, if that was a special trip, I would have paid the $9 all day long.
No, literally in the parking lot across the street from the dentist. So we pull in there, and I haven't been to a JCPenney since fucking 1983. I don't know.
It's been a while. I haven't been. Yeah.
This is a standalone. It's not even in a mall. It's like they literally just built a JCPenney in the middle of a shopping center. So I go in, and there's it's like a ghost town.
I can only imagine.
Right. So I'm thinking, how is this place even open still? Who shops here? So I see a sign to the right of the registers that says pick up, online orders, blah, blah, blah. It's like a huge sign, but it's explaining their process. So and there's registers there. So I'm standing there. And it's kind of in the corner. I'm standing there and there's nobody there. Well, there's a couple cashiers on the other side, but they're ringing people up. So I'm waiting for an opportunity to step in and say, hey, I'm here to do a pickup. The sign says pickup, so I think I'm in the right spot. Well, the customer's taking forever. I don't know, maybe 7-8 minutes go by, and a lady comes up behind me and she says, sir. I was like, yeah? She's like, the line's back there. I was like, I'm not in line. And she's like, well, are you cutting? I said, whoa. I said, I am here to do a package pickup. Do you work here? Because I'm not answering that. I said, do you work here? And she said, no, I'm in line. And she's getting nasty with me. And Nick gets embarrassed, so he walks away because he knows this is about to go down. So Nick takes off. He's gone.
What a coward. Why did you fix this kid's tooth again? I'm trying to understand that.
I don't know. I want to knock out 3 more. But he walks away, right? He was in a bad mood anyway because he was like, this is what I get for hustling. I was like, well, that's the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, if that's the case, just quit basketball now. So anyway, we were already arguing.
Yeah, that attitude's going to get him far.
Right, we were arguing anyway. So he walks off because now he knows this lady is, we got beef, me and her. And I was like, ma'am, I'm here to pick up a package. I don't know who you're I'm not cutting you in line. I don't have anything in my hands. And she goes, well, this ain't package pickup. I said, well, it says it on the wall. She's like, it's in the back of the store. I was like, okay. So I start to walk, and I literally stopped. I turned back to her. I said, look, I don't know what the attitude is for, but it's a total mistake on my part. I thought, and she's like, it's okay. I was in the wrong. So I was like, I walked away and I said, fucking people. I made it known that I was not happy with her. So I'm walking around the back of the store. There's no associates. There's not one single person working. There's no customers in the store. The store, it almost feels like it's dark in there and that it's like the store's not even really in business, but like it's weird. It's creepy. It smells.
Like they're not even bothering to replace light bulbs. Just as they go out, the store gets
right.
darker and darker.
Like the portrait center's out of business, and it's like pitch black back there. The eyeglass section's out of business, it's pitch black back there. So I can't find. There's no signs that tell me where I'm supposed to go. So I do a full lap around the store. Me and Nick cross paths at one point, and I'm like, "Do you see anybody working here?" He's like, "There's not even any. There's literally no customers, nothing. Like it's empty." So I go back up front. There's like a makeup department. Sephora is in the building. So I asked the lady. I said, "Look, I've done like 16 laps around here. Where do I pick up a package?" She's like, "Oh, the back of the store." I go, "Look, I get it. It's the back of the store. Where in the back of the store? Do I go like through the dark room back there, or like I'm confused?" And she's like, "If you go through the home department, there's a little register." Okay. So I go back there and I'm standing there. There's nobody at the register, right? It's like buried in the pillow department. Nobody's there. I'm like looking around. This little old black man has walked by me. He walked by me. I'm in line, like standing at the register is literally an inch from my stomach. He keeps walking past, no name tag. I thought he was a shopper, right? He's got his hands behind the back, like one of those old men that's waiting for their wife, and he's kind of like, he's got his hands behind his back. He's got like two fingers, like cupped in his hand. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's kind of like leaning forward. His legs are leisurely kicking out, like he's as people keep calling, he's kind of just like milling around. Like, so I eventually he comes back and he's like stops, and he like, we make eye contact. I said, "Do you work here?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I said, "Am I in the right spot to pick up a package?" He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Is that what you're here for?" What did he think I was standing there for?
I don't know, man. This is
so he goes and gets the package, right? So Nick wants to buy a shirt. I go back up front, and the lady at the register goes, "Sir, were you the guy just waiting here before?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know where to pick up a package." And now I'm in burial mode. I already buried the lady at the dentist. Now I'm burying Sam back at the counter. I go, "My man don't have a name tag on. He's milling around. He don't know what." I said, "I was there 10 minutes." And he's like, "Walk." She goes, "The little old black man?" And she's a black woman. And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That guy, let me tell you something." She said, he don't listen to nobody. She goes, "I think he's deaf." I said, "Well, I don't know what it is, but I'm standing around."
He must be blind too.
Right. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm standing around, right? She was the nicest lady. She apologized to me. I said, no, you don't have to apologize. She goes, I just wish we could get rid of him. She goes, "He's useless." I said, "I don't even know what he's doing." She goes, "Is he not really wearing a name tag?" I said, "I promise you he's not wearing a name tag." And she was like, "I've told him about this. You don't know how many times I've told him." Yeah. So anyway, it's today. That's today for me. Yeah. Now my phone's blowing up for work. This is ridiculous.
It's you've had quite the trial today. I don't.
I got a headache. It's pouring raining here. Yeah, I don't know.
I was gonna let it slide because I don't really want to deal with it. But
yeah,
I just realized that we were supposed to do our weigh-ins.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I only lost 6.8 pounds.
Well, do you want to just do them? We'll just do them right now because I listen. I concede you won. I don't really want to do this. I'm
actually nervous that you are going to beat me.
No,
by some way.
No. I for sure didn't beat you. You said you lost how much?
6.8.
I lost -4 pounds.
Yes.
I put on 4 pounds.
Yes. Oh, I feel so much better about my life.
I after the first week of doing it, lost track, and then we were like, "Oh, we still got a month left. We can both get on track." I never got on track. I would like diet for a week and then go off and just make up for lost time. Yes. I would just eat everything.
This is like what's best about this is a year of just like until we do another one. Like it's not even that I beat you. You gained weight. You're fat.
I gave it up. I gave up. I didn't care. You know what it was? You know what the problem was? We never set a a thing for the end, like if the loser has to do something or the winner gets something. We didn't do that, and so there was no repercussions to losing. I lost my ass. So I weighed myself yesterday. I could have probably weighed myself 2 days ago and had a better number. But I literally had to have a talk with myself.
You are 4 pounds. You fat. I'm pissed that I only lost 6.8. I was so mad at myself.
Yeah, but 4 pounds, it was like 6 weeks. So it's not even a pound a week. I'm not terrible.
Oh,
listen,
I know, but Jesus.
I had to have a talk with myself last night. It didn't go well.
This is amazing.
Oh shit! So yeah, I'm.
All right. Well, you're fat. Good.
Yeah. Well, you're still fat. I mean, don't kid yourself.
I'm not 4 pounds fatter. I'm 6.8 pounds lighter.
0.8. Jesus Christ.
Summer of AJ, baby.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've
yeah, you're fat. That's it. That's how we should end the podcast, and we should just call it Ben's Fat. That's it.
Well, since I make the graphics, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we're not getting that name.
No.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah. All right. Well, look, I know. Look, we're only like 35 minutes into this podcast. I told a couple good stories today.
Well, I mean, you told.
Now I'm getting text messages telling me that I got to call my work because something crazy happened. So I can't even imagine what that is.
No, I wish we could talk about that. Instead of my being fat.
Yeah. Well, but we're gonna have to cut it short today at 36 minutes and change.
Always something with you, Slambino.
It is always something. Always something.